work in this area.
Thank you. We now move on to questions to the Church Commissioners, the House of Commons Commission, the Restoration and Renewal Client Board and the Speakers Committee on the Electoral Commission. Kevin Foster.
Question number 1, please, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Andrew Selous.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. While we do not yet have confirmed numbers of worshippers for this Easter just gone, our clergy report high attendance of all ages at services, which supports the post-pandemic trend of people returning to services on Easter Day in person to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus.
Kevin Foster.
Well, I thank my honourable friend for his answer. The future of the Church is reliant on younger families attending and receiving the good news of the Holy Gospel. What assessment has the Church made of initiatives like the Pupil Chaplain Scheme and regular Messy Church at All Saints Tour in achieving this?
Alistair Common. Oh, I'm so sorry. I beg your pardon. Andrew Selous.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I was delighted to learn about the Pupil Chaplain Scheme which All Saints Tour are running with Tour Church of England Academy, and I will bring it to the attention of the Church nationally. The Church of England has committed £40 million since 2022 to increase provision for children and young people across the country. And I'd also like to thank Father Paul Jones for his service at All Saints Babbacombe and his wife Jackie, who's led a Rainbows group at the church for many years. Their important work, which includes inspiring the next generation, has been noted and appreciated.
Alistair Carmichael.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Number 2.
Rachel Hopkins.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The committee has regular discussions with the Commission on issues relating to electoral integrity. The Commission is working to ensure upcoming elections, including those in May and the next UK Parliamentary General Election, are well run and command public confidence. It continues to make recommendations to the UK's governments and legislators to further safeguard the UK's electoral system where appropriate.
Alistair Carmichael.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I congratulate the Honourable Lady on her newly acquired responsibilities in this area. I'm sure if she brings the same diligence and independence of mind to it that her father brought to matters in this House for many years, will be well served by her. The organisation Spotlight on Corruption wrote to the National Crime Agency in December of last year, highlighting the dangers of UK elections being exposed to dirty money and foreign influence. Now, the Commission no longer has powers to raise prosecutions, but it can investigate. So can I ask her if she will use her offices to bring the Electoral Commission's attention to the Spotlight on Corruption report and see what assessment they will make of it?
Rachel Hopkins.
Thank you. I will bring the report to the attention of the Commission, and it has said that it takes all possible steps within the current regulatory framework to prevent unlawful foreign money from entering UK politics. It publishes information about donations to ensure transparency and can sanction political parties which accept impermissible foreign donations. It works with the police, who can investigate unlawful foreign money entering UK politics through permissible donors. However, it cannot take enforcement action against organisations based outside the UK. The Commission will continue to recommend changes to ensure voters can have greater confidence in political finance in the UK.
Patrick Grady.
Speaker number 3.
Sir Charles Walker.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The House of Commons Commission takes food waste extremely seriously. We work with organisations such as Fair Share to use unused food and distribute it, but we also take food that's not eaten on one day and safely use it in other recipes on another day.
Patrick Grady.
Thank you. I thank the honourable member for that response, because I think we've probably all been to events and occasions here where perhaps the hosts have somewhat enthusiastically over-ordered, and I think it would be useful to be assured that none of the food certainly goes to landfill, that there are always ways that are found to reuse it. There are a number of initiatives and apps these days where, at the end of the day, venues and stores can make food available at discounted prices, and I wonder if that might be something that could be extended to staff, obviously not to members, but to staff, particularly those who work later on in the estate, so that absolutely no food in this place goes to waste.
So we'll always look at suggestions. I think I can reassure the member, though, that our catering team recently achieved the highest mark in the Sustainable Restaurant Association Food Made Good rating, and one of the areas that we were assessed on was our commitment to reducing food waste. But clearly we will look at the honourable member's suggestions and if they have merit, we will act on them.
Teresa Villiers, not here. Philip Holloway.
Number 5, please.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The report of the Joint Archbishops' Commission on Families and Households was enthusiastically received by the General Synod at its meeting in February this year, and the Archbishops' Council is now incorporating its recommendations into the work programme.
Philip Holloway.
The key messages from the Archbishops' Commission are unambiguous. Families matter, relationships matter, love matters. The number one action point from the Commission is to, and I quote, maximise the protective effect of family. What steps is the Church of England taking to achieve this in Kettering and across the whole country?
Andrew Selous.
Well, I'm very grateful to my honourable friend for his interest in this really important area, and I can tell him that the Commission has had meetings with government departments and with the Children's Commissioner to work alongside government to strengthen family relationships, parenting and marriage. And the Church itself wants to play a more active role in this crucial area and is producing new resources to help parishes do this. And in his own constituency, I'm sure he will know that St Andrew's Church in Kettering is already exemplifying much of this good work under the excellent leadership of the Reverend Tom Houston, who trained as a youth worker prior to ordination.
Sir Chris Bryant.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Same-sex couples are able to show love and be a good family as well, aren't they? So why won't the Church of England recognise same-sex marriage?
Yeah.
Andrew Selous.
The honourable member will know that this is an issue with which the General Synod continues to be involved through the Living in Love and Faith process. We are working through these issues, and the Church will have heard very clearly what the honourable member has said, and I can assure him that work is being taken forward.
Sir Desmond Swing.
6, Madam.
Andrew Selous.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The Church of England believes that the fetus is a human life with the potential to develop, while recognising that there can be strictly limited conditions under which abortion may be morally preferable to any available alternative. The Church also believes that every possible support, especially by Church members, should be given to those who are pregnant and in difficult circumstances. The Church would support new clauses 15 and 34, and believes that while women should not face criminalisation, anyone coercing a woman to have an abortion, or providing one beyond the legal limit, or supplying an abortion kit for a late-term use should be prosecuted.
Sir Desmond Swing.
Well, I welcome the support for Amendments 15 and 34. I think he has given implicit opposition to the new clause in the name of the Honourable Lady for Kingston-on-Hull North. But I am gobsmacked not to have had a clear statement on the criminality of terminating a pregnancy up to the moment of birth by whomsoever. Is the intention to drive us into the arms of Rome? Is he as gobsmacked as I am?
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
Andrew Selous.
Well, I'm grateful to my right honourable friend for his interest in these very important and serious issues, which I'm sure the House will want to treat sensitively, given the importance of them. I will convey his comments to the leadership of the Church, but just to repeat, the Church is supporting the 2-week reduction in the age of viability from 24 to 22 weeks, based on the latest available evidence that fetuses do survive at 22 weeks onwards. It's also supporting protection for Down syndrome children to make it the case that abortion beyond the legal limit should not be acceptable for Down syndrome children. And the Church supports the continued prosecution of medical practitioners who assist with abortions beyond the legal limit.
Kirsten Oswald.
Question 7, please.
Rachel Hopkins.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The committee has had recent discussions with the Electoral Commission on the matters raised. The Commission recognises the risks posed to the integrity of elections by dis- and misinformation. It runs campaigns raising awareness of the voting process so voters have accurate information to rely on. The legal regime the Commission regulates is focused on ensuring that political finance is transparent and that campaigner materials, including an imprint showing voters who has produced the material. It does not have a role in regulating the content of election campaign material, but encourages all campaigners to undertake their role responsibly and transparently.
Kirsten Oswald.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I'm grateful to her for that answer. Recently, we've seen a decrease in the effectiveness of search engines such as Google, with material generated by AI, which is designed only to produce things that sound like information, so to speak, poisoning the well with a marked impact upon search results. With this automation of fake news and fake oracles, I wonder what plans the Electoral Commission has to put out guidance on AI-produced materials.
Rachel Hopkins.
Thank you. The Commission encourages all campaigners to undertake their role of influencing voters responsibly and transparently, and indeed encourages voters to think critically about the campaign materials they see. It expects anyone using AI-generated campaign material to use it in a way that benefits open and transparent political debate, and to label it clearly so voters know how it has been created. Campaign material must also carry an imprint telling voters who has published and paid for it. The Commission's role is to ensure the financing of campaigns is transparent. It does not have a role in regulating the content of election campaign material, such as preventing the use of deepfakes.
Sir Edward Lee.
Number 8, Madam.
Andrew Selous.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The Bishop of Southwark has raised this issue repeatedly in the other place over the last 6 months, and it remains an ongoing and very concerning issue. Only 15 days ago, an unlawful eviction was led by the Israeli police within the premises of the Armenian Patriarchate when no court orders or permits were presented.
Edward Lee.
Those of us who are good friends of Israel need to call out the violent activities of the settler movement. The Armenian Christians have enjoyed the best part of 2,000 years in their part of the old city in tranquility. This appalling incident on the 3rd of April was not just led by thugs, it was led by an Israeli officer called Asav Harel. And, frankly, there was downright intimidation and attempt to force out Armenian Christians. The Christian population has declined in the old city from 25% a century ago to just 1% now. Will the Church of England stand up for Christians in the old city?
Andrew Selous.
Well, I'm extremely grateful to my right honourable friend for his sustained interest in this really important issue. And it would be an absolute tragedy if there were not to be Christians left in the Holy Land, and the House will have heard the figures which he's just presented to the House. And the pressures facing the Armenian Church exemplify those faced by other churches in Jerusalem and the West Bank. And the Armenian Patriarch of Jerusalem is one of the custodians of the Holy Land and overseers of the 4 quarters of the city. And the Church of England is absolutely clear that the historic settlement and status quo of Jerusalem need to be maintained. The lack of any call for restraint from the Israeli government is escalating tensions in Jerusalem, and this remains a very great concern.
Richard Fuller.
Question number 9, Madam Speaker.
Andrew Selous.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. When the Church Commissioners sell land, they seek to engage all those who are affected by a sale or development. The Church Commissioners are not aware of any land they own being for sale in North East Bedfordshire.
I'm very grateful to my honourable friend for his response. That word engage is interesting in this context. It is the case that there is a church in my constituency where there was local opposition to the sale of allotment land. There were discussions held initially with the diocese and then at Church House in Westminster. My honourable friend will be aware that in such discussions there is an imbalance of power. So can he assure me that there is adequate guidance to enable parishioners and local communities to combat effectively pressures to sell land where there is clearly local opposition?
Andrew Selous.
Well, I particularly agree with my honourable friend about the importance of allotments, for which there is often a very long waiting list. I can tell my honourable friend that the land at Henlow is owned by the Diocese of St Albans, and I will ask the Diocesan Secretary to contact my honourable friend. And of course, he can also speak to the Bishop of Bedford and the Bishop of St Albans, who we both know well. I would also say to him that charity law places a fiduciary duty on organisations to gain best value from the sale of their assets. And this may be an issue that he would want to raise with the relevant government minister in the context of what is happening in his constituency.
Bob Blackman.
Question number 10, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Andrew Selous.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The Church of England educates over 1 million children in its 4,700 schools, which includes 40% of all primary schools in England. Church schools in Harrow East do incredible work, and among them is St John's School in Stanmore, which has many children for whom English is not their first language and from disadvantaged backgrounds. And this school achieves a reading progress score of 4.5 compared with the average score in the rest of the local authority of 1.1. And this excellent achievement is to be warmly commended.
Bob Blackman.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I thank my honourable friend for that answer. I'm very proud of the fact that parents in Harrow East have the opportunity for both a church education or a religious ethos education of their choice. However, as we all know, the birth rate is dropping, and indeed the number of children needing primary places in Harrow is also falling. There is therefore a direct threat to St John's and other religious-based schools that their roles will drop and they will become unviable. What action is the Church taking to enable young people, particularly those that have recently come to this country, who may be of a Christian faith but not necessarily of the Church of England faith, to actually identify with a church school and get that sort of education?
Andrew Selous.
Well, it may surprise my honourable friend and the House to know that there are some Church of England schools in which all the children are from other faiths, and that's because church schools are community schools and are welcome to all. I will draw his concerns about falling roll numbers to both the Diocese of London and to the National Education Department of the Church of England. But I would say to him, in my experience, parents have a pretty good nose for finding their way to a good school. And with those results at St John's, which I've just told the House about, I think that should help in this case.
Thank you. That concludes questions.